Channel 2S is brought to you by New Type HQ. Get your kits and supplies at the link in the description below. Hello, and welcome to Channel 2S. I am your host, Second Soundwave, and Reiji, since you asked, this stream is the Bionicle Tangent, because we're not going to be talking about Gundam today. We're going to be talking about a figure that I ordered over a year ago now. This thing was first announced back in August of 2021. I was super hyped as soon as I saw it. I am, even if I don't necessarily talk about it on this channel a lot, just a bit of a Transformers enthusiast. And by that, I mean I was a massive Transformers fan for pretty much my entire childhood. And this figure is probably going to end up being the centerpiece of my collection. So what we are going to be unboxing and looking at today is the Haslab Star Saber and Victory Leo set. This was a $180 set, which is a lot of money for a Transformer. As far as what I've seen of these figures, and I haven't seen a lot, I've intentionally avoided a lot of reviews of these figures because I wanted to experience them firsthand for myself, which was really hard because I live on the East Coast, and that means that since these things are usually shipped out starting in California and kind of working their way east, I am a little bit late in getting this. However, I'm glad I have it in hand now. I'm really looking forward to cracking this thing open and seeing what the figure is actually like. It looks like the main Star Saber figure is going to be around the size of a Commander class, and Victory Leo is about a Voyager, so I am really looking forward to getting into this. If this thing is War for Cybertron trilogy level quality, I think I'm going to love it. If it's more Legacy, it could be a bit hit or miss. This isn't really going to be much for a review. This is going to be more of a show-off, because even if you see this and you like it, the problem with this being a Haslab is you can't really go out and buy this right now. Now sure, I'm sure there's people on eBay that are selling this for like $400 or $500 or something ridiculous, but if you wanted to actually get this, you would have had to preemptively back it when the campaign first started. Here's the box. Looks like the bottom of the packaging has a nice matte finish to it. There is a slip cover around the outside that I believe I saw in one of Hasbro's live streams. Oh, look at that reveal. Hang on, I gotta make sure my camera's exposure is set right so you can actually pick this up. This is one of the fanciest boxes I think I have ever seen for a Transformer. Oh man. Look at that. Holy crap. So there's a little bit of tissue paper wrapped around the inside of the box there to protect it, but this is Haslab Victory Saber. Wow. So this is a matte black finish on the outside of the slipcover. All the red sections here are metallic. They look beautiful. We got some awesome artwork of the duo right here on the front. This has to be some of the fanciest Transformers packaging I've seen. Let's take a look at the side here. Oh, we got pictures of all the guys included. So one of the stretch goals for this set was a pair of... I have to forcibly stop myself from calling these Minicons because I was a Unicron Trilogy kid, but these are Micromasters that I believe were exclusive to Japan. And then you can see we got the Brainmaster, and then Victory Leo, and then Saber. So even though this looks like two figures, it's actually a lot of different characters. And then on the other side, we just have the classic block text Transformers logo, which feels weird to call classic because I definitely remember when they first started using that logo, but that was also, what, 7, 8, 9 years ago now? I am 100% going to be keeping the packaging for this figure, which I don't really do for a lot of my Transformers, since it's usually just very standard retail packaging, but man, this is a beautiful, beautiful presentation. Oh, look at that. Man, whoever they commissioned to do the artwork for this did an awesome job. There's this isn't just a poster, this is like a thick piece of cardboard here. Bare cardboard in the back, and then you look at the front here, and it's like this super tall and narrow poster for Transformers Victory. I would love to see if I could find like a really high quality digital version of this artwork. I'm prepared for maybe things to be a bit iffy, because again, Hasbro, you know how they are, you know how they've been, and also someone that I know on Discord got this figure in a little while ago, and his Star Saber was missing the entire sword. I wish I was joking. It's a really unfortunate situation to be in, so I'm crossing my fingers and hoping that everything's here, everything's intact, there's no paint screw-ups, there's no other, Hasbro-isms as far as the quality goes. So hopefully, everything's gonna be okay. Are those stickers? I'm like 99% sure these are foil stickers. Even when you're not building Gunpla, you can't escape the stickers. Man, this instruction manual is like an atlas of the United States. This is a huge piece of paper. Transformers always does this thing where instead of having the manual be a booklet, it just unfolds into this massive sheet of paper. And for bigger figures like this that are really complicated, it is so annoying because you have to like open this entire thing up on your table and just put it down like a tablecloth and try to figure out where everything goes. So I think they could have maybe done this as a booklet and that would have looked a little nicer. So on the top here, we have our accessory tray. A lot of this stuff, in fact, I think all of this was actually the stretch goals. One of the stretch goals was a display base for the figure, which is a nice stretch goal for sure. You know, we got some blast effects. That was pretty cool. I think the shield really should have been part of the base figure. I don't think we should have had to hit any stretch goals for that, but fortunately, this guy absolutely blew past not only the minimum, but every single stretch goal. A little bit of minor paint nicks on the guns, but it's again, minor stuff, the kind of thing that I would expect from Hasbro, so not that big a deal. Oh yeah, here's the figures. I'm gonna grab my entry grade RX-78, because it's right here, just to give you guys a little bit of an idea of how big the figures we're looking at are. I would say Star Saber feels like a commander class, and then Victory Leo is a Voyager, maybe skewing on a bit on the larger side for a Voyager. Here we have what I believe is called the G-Lock cannon, and the only reason I know this is called the G-Lock cannon is because they actually advertised this separately as one of the stretch goals. So yes, the main long-range weapon of this guy was actually a stretch goal. I think it's a little bit ridiculous. I don't think they had to do that necessarily, but again, this guy hit every single stretch goal with ease, so it ultimately didn't matter, and we got the full package regardless. It's a very nice dense plastic. This doesn't feel cheap at all. It has that nice high quality feel. Paintwork looks really clean. I think I'm gonna work my way up to Star Saber since he's kind of the big grand reveal. Looks like the handle for the shield. Here's the handle for the sword. Some nice paintwork on this. Got like a little bit of a transformation where you extend the handle out there. Now this Micromaster right here is actually a... Whoop, that just came right off because... Oh, I see. So it's got one of those Siege-style 5mm pegs on it, so you can attach it to different areas on the body. This is actually a retool of another figure that I have called... I think it's called like Drop Shot or something like that. This is the other Micromaster. I don't remember these guys' names. I think they have like super basic names like Fire and Siren or something lame like that. You know, sometimes Japanese Transformers have names that are a bit weird. Now, this is a Micromaster mold that I've never had hands-on experience with. However, I do believe this is one of the existing ones from the Siege line. So I kind of see Victory Leo as just a nice bonus. He is basically just a walking, talking accessory for Star Saber. And here he is. You know what? This guy, plus some sort of bulky accessory, would have probably been released at retail as a leader class figure because this guy feels a lot denser than a standard Voyager at retail nowadays. He's got a little bit more heft to him than you would typically see. So he's got nice articulation. He's got beyond 90 at the elbows, even though they're just a single joint. Given the way his head's shaped, you don't get a lot of up and down movement out of it, but you can kind of, because of the transformation, tip it up if you want to make him in kind of a flying pose like that. This is my first little bit of Hasbro hollowness I've seen on this figure so far, where we got a little bit of hollow on the inside of the thigh here. And again, with this being a premium collector figure, I feel like they could have closed up all those hollows. Now, he doesn't have a waist swivel, but I'm pretty sure the only reason he doesn't is because I see this giant seam that runs down his torso. So I think this entire figure splits apart for the transformation. All right, let's lift him out. This is the big man himself, the moment of truth. Yeah, this figure feels premium. He's got a double jointed elbow. Although weirdly, one of his elbow joints ratchets and the other one doesn't. And also his arms are so bulky that you can't really use both joints at the same time. So whether you bend one joint or the other, he gets 90 degrees. And even if you combine them together, you're not going to get much more than that. Real funky ratchets though in the shoulder. A little bit of outward shoulder movement, doesn't go too far. He does have bicep swivel. His hands, of course, he's got that wrist swivel. This is my favorite piece of engineering I've ever seen on a Transformer. So they introduced this with Siege Jetfire, and it looks like they're reusing it here. There is a mechanism inside of the hand, and there's a hole that the weapon tabs down into that, when you open up the fingers on the hand, automatically folds away. So when you have his hand open, it looks nice and natural, and then when you close it, you get a full cylinder to peg the weapon into to make it more secure. What a awesome piece of engineering. He's got waist articulation. His head swivels side to side. And you can look up, but it kind of reveals the little guy head inside of there. He's got Gunpla style skirt armor because of course he does. He's made by Okawara. Oh, that is a heavy ratchet. Looks like it goes back to about there. No back skirt articulation. He's got a swivel, got a 90-degree bend at the knee. There's the ankle pivot. Even on a figure like this, even a figure this big where his feet are completely enclosed inside the legs, they still find a way to give you the tiniest amount of ankle pivot. What an awesome looking figure. So there's his shield. Looks pretty Gundam-y. These effect parts are designed so that you can use them separately or you can combine them together, and it makes one big effect. And yeah, they're still a little smushed up from the packaging, but you can get the idea. Here's the stand. Got a nice Victory logo. Looks like it's designed for both the jet mode and the robot mode. I'm gonna just... Okay, so I think it's probably like this for jet mode and then this for robot mode. I was expecting the sword to be a little bigger proportionally compared to him, but I guess it's a reasonable size. It's just that the hilt being so big kind of makes you think that the blade's gonna be longer. I think one last thing I might do before we completely remove the packaging from play is I wanna show you guys a little Easter egg that the packaging has in it. We've got this option here for the outer packaging, right? Looks amazing, looks cool, but if you very carefully open this up, holy crap. I definitely cannot show all of this on camera at once. I'm just gonna give you guys a little look at it, but basically it's an alternate packaging for the kit where it has more of the classic retro Japanese G1 packaging look to it. So if you want to display your Star Saber's box and have it look more retro rather than sleek and modern, you've got an alternate packaging option so you can do that. Now, so far, I've been impressed with the joint quality on these figures. Nothing has been too loose, nothing has been too tight. And for Hasbro, that is a very pleasant surprise because that's not always going to be a given. $180 set. I kind of wish they figured out a way to fill in the gaps on the underside of the guns. That is a bit ugly for such a premium figure. You can flip the guns down, and if you flip them down, it looks a little better. Also, I didn't mention it earlier, but there's actual chrome on this kit. Or this figure, sorry. I'm so used to talking about Gunpla. There is legit gold chrome on this guy's chest, and it's on the chest of Star Saber as well. So the little Micromaster guys, their transformations are very basic. I'm going to start with this guy because I already know how to do it since I have the other figure that uses this mold. I think it's called Top Shot, right? Pop it all together and drop the ladder back on. So there's our little fire truck man. I really couldn't care less if it included the Micromasters or not, but it's always cool to have more Micromasters. This guy is not one that I'm familiar with, but his transformation is very obvious, so I'm gonna just go ahead and do it. I like this little police car, actually. That's a fun mold. This one I'm not a fan of. I wasn't really a fan of Top Shot either. I think he's a bit fiddly, but it's an alright as a little bonus, which is really what it is. Out of all the stretch goals, I feel like these are the two that felt the most stretch goaly, where it's not a need to have, it's not an essential part of the design, it's just a fun little bonus. Man, it was so weird as a kid growing up knowing the Star Saber as that weapon that Optimus Prime had, and then learning later on that it was actually the name of a character from Generation 1. One of my favorite gimmicks, and you see this a lot on, like, sometimes with, like, Toku characters especially, where they'll sometimes have a shield and then a sword that stores inside of the shield. I think the Night Gundam might do that as well. I love that gimmick whenever it shows up. So there's the G-Lock cannon. Big old rifle, big old cannon. He looks pretty awesome with it. It's interesting how even though this is a fully articulated modern figure, he still kind of has that chunky G1 charm to him. He's got that, like, kind of clunky sort of super robot, not really meant to be posed so much as he is meant to be, like, swooshed around by a kid kind of feel to him. So it looks like the stand just kind of plugs into his rear. Okay, so it goes this way. So I have this in backwards. You flip it around and you put it this way. It's definitely made for flight poses. It holds his feet like 6 inches, not 6 inches, but he's definitely very far off the ground. This isn't something you'd use to just hold the figure up to keep him from falling, although you really wouldn't have to do that. I really want to transform these guys. However, I also don't want to open the giant roadmap that is these instructions, so I'm going to try, at the very least, to sort of see if I can figure out how to transform these guys on my own. I'm going to start with Victory Leo since he should be pretty easy. Alright, so I think you flip the fangs down. These are definitely going to be the front legs. Oh yeah, totally, for sure. You can see the feet of the lion here and everything. There we go. I just need to use a little more force. And I definitely saw a little bit of yellow plastic fly out of there, but hey, if it works, it works, and it holds itself in position in both modes, so I'm going to assume that was just a manufacturing defect where there was maybe a little bit of extra plastic in there that wasn't supposed to be. There we go. So, here's those lion legs. This go? I feel like it's gonna oh yeah, it's using that double joint mechanism that they introduced in Combiner Wars to get the legs to reduce. I feel like I might be missing something, but then again, probably not. It's a lion, it's got wings, it's pretty cool. It's a very straightforward figure. This is one of those figures that's very obviously just meant to be a power upgrade for Star Saber. Like, this guy is not meant to be cool on his own. He is really meant to be a glorified Star Saber accessory, which is fine. You know, that's clearly his lot in life. Now, let's get to the big boy. And if you guys are at all familiar with Star Saber, you'll know that this is going to be a long process because Star Saber has lots of little interesting intermediate modes you can go through. Here we go. So, the entire chest comes out, and this is a separate figure. The head's parts forming, unfortunately, it's just a separate helmet you pull off. I guess they could have gone the real grade Gal Gaigar route where it's on like a extending arm thing that like flips down the backpack. I guess they didn't want to go that complicated with it. So Saber here feels like something between a core class figure and a deluxe class. Small deluxe. Yeah, he does kind of feel like a small deluxe. So here's Saber. He's just a little guy. He's got nice ball joints. His arms come out, bicep swivels, 90-degree elbows, ball joints at the wrist that allow for a swivel. He's got a swivel at the head, swivel at the waist, universal at the hip, thigh swivel, bend at the knee that goes a little bit less than 90. And again, they do this with every figure. Even this little guy has a pivot for the ankles. There is one last gimmick this man has. I'm not sure how exactly they recreated it. Okay, so he's what's called a Brain Master in the original series, and that means there's a little man inside of him that controls everything. And holy crap, this might be the smallest, most detailed Transformers figure I've ever seen. Oh, that's so smart. So the face of the robot is actually part of the Brain Master, and the way they were able to give him head articulation was making the entire Brain Master cavity rotate. That is such a clever solution. So in order to get this guy out, he just kind of pops out like that, and as you can see, the face of Saber is actually a part of this figure. And when you fold the face in, the head for the Brain Master rotates up, and you have probably the single smallest figure I think I've ever seen with Transformers branding on it. Here's a 1/100 scale pilot figure. This man is almost the same size as a 1/100 scale human, and it's a fully molded, slightly articulated Transformers figure. That is next level. He's even got a little bit of shoulder movement. He can sit. I heard that they were incorporating the Brain Master in some way, but I didn't know they were going this far to commit to the actual gimmick. The only thing that the original figure did that this doesn't is the original figure had a spring-loaded feature inside the Brain Master where when you close this hatch, there was a little piston that would push up on the figure, and the legs would push up inside of the figure, and the face would pop up from inside. It was like this little spring-loaded feature. Now, because of that, the original Brain Master had basically no articulation, and it also only worked because I'm pretty sure original G1 Star Saber was a lot bigger than this figure, and that's the only way they were really able to work that gimmick in. To get Saber into his jet mode, I was about to say I feel like I'm missing something, and then I realized why. So, as far as the jet goes, this is basically complete, but he is going to need the handle of the sword to go all the way. So the head just flips away, and then this plugs in there. And now you have a little jet. It's got very kind of chibi proportions, but it's nice. It's nice. Given how much this entire package does, you know, this guy, I think he gets a pass, even though if this was a standalone figure, I'd be a bit more critical of this jet mode. All right, so now we're left with Saber here. This forms into just kind of a bigger jet that combines with the small jet. So the hands flip in like that. I'm starting to see how things are going to go together here. Those fold in. I see. The legs come out and then down, and then they're going to connect to the arms. Yeah, and then this folds down. Oh, yep. I'm glad I didn't try to push those down because they're using the fold trick as well. It's impressive they could fit the hands in here and also the arm collapsing gimmick. Looks like the thigh connects into the forearm like this. There we go. And tab it in, just like the other side. Okay. I think that's pretty much it. Oh, huh. There's some sort of button here on the back which looks like it activates a release mechanism for Saber. Just kind of flip these wings all back up. And you just, or maybe you keep the wings. You might keep these wings out. I think these ones stay out. And then you just kind of, oh, there we go. I just wasn't pushing it hard enough in. So now it's in. And now that's locked in place, it's locked in. Feels pretty secure. You flip the little wingtips out and there you go. Star Saber. So now I need to see if I can get these guys to combine. You literally just flip the head back and then you fold the legs up. It's not super complicated. I think I overestimated him a little. He's not quite as complicated as I thought. So I can already see where these tab in. Oh, I see. It drops down from the top. That looks like a victory saber. So you're supposed to take the head and that plugs in here. Okay, I see. I was wondering where that was supposed to go. There we go. Wow, yeah, that really should not have been a stretch goal, because that is a basic part of the design that covers up the connecting point between the two jets and makes them look a lot more streamlined. That is a pretty awesome looking figure and very colorful from underneath. Oh, and I almost forgot about Brain Man. So Brain of Courage, I believe this figure is called. And part of the reason that he has articulation is because he can fold his little feet up like that. And you kind of lift his arms, and you should just be able to drop him inside the cockpit there. And now he's piloting his body. You can tell this is a big boy toy because I managed to actually cut myself and draw blood. I want to try and get these guys back into robot mode before we end this off. Partially because I want to do the Victory Saber robot mode combination, and also because I want to do some comparisons with some other figures that I have. Man, there's not a lot to Victory Leo. Now that I've transformed him back and forth a couple times, there's like 5 parts that you just rearrange for his vehicle mode, and that's basically it. There's a lot of places for dust to gather, and he's also been on the back of a shelf for a while, but here is his fellow Japanese G1 Autobot leader, Diatlas. As you can see, they are about the same size. However, there is a big difference in the quality of these two figures because Star Saber is incredibly dense and intricately engineered, while Diatlas, first of all, feels like a ragdoll, and secondly, he's just a little bit hollow. These are the legs on an actual Transformers figure. Fortunately, for display purposes, if you have these guys standing side by side, they're going to look pretty awesome together. They're just about the same size, which is absolutely perfect. I was not expecting them to line up this well. Diatlas over to the side, and bring in Optimus Prime. As you can see, Star Saber is a lot bigger. Here's Victory Leo as well. As you can see, even Victory Leo is taller than Optimus, as we saw at the start of the stream. I will say, though, there is a big difference in surface detail with this figure versus these two. I would say these two kind of have the same level of surface detail, but all the details on this are just kind of crushed down to a smaller size, so it makes this guy feel like he's a lot more detailed. Before we go, I am going to try and see if I can pull off the Victory Saber combination. His body does split in half. I'm just not sure. I'm not sure which parts split and which parts don't. Oh, I see. The whole head and shoulder section comes off the body and then the body splits. Got it. I see how it goes together now. Yep, just like that. Very easily pops apart, but if you don't know exactly where the split is, it can be a bit tricky. So now this part splits in half, and now these are going to become the feet. So I think these just flip over. You might be wondering what Victory Leo actually does in this combination, and he basically just turns into shoes. He turns into a big pair of platform shoes for Star Saber. All right, so I think this just kind of pops on the back here, and then these just kind of drop down over the shoulders. Oh, that's why the antennas move. So they made the antennas fold in so you can get the shoulder cannons around his head easier. He looks so good with those wings. Honestly, the wings look better on Star Saber than they did on Victory Leo. If I was trying to make like a modern redesign for Star Saber for like a new show or something, I'd probably find a way to work in the wings and the cannons as just part of his base design because it looks so natural on him. The foot extensions I could take or leave though. Oh, I see. That piece flips up over the toe and it latches it in place. All right, so this is what I was talking about. There's these little hook pieces that flip out of the front, and you just kind of lift them up, and it just slides over his toes just like that. And this is not going anywhere. And you know what? It doesn't actually mess with the proportions as much as I thought it would. I thought these were going to make the legs look way too long, but because of how thick and bulky they are, it actually kind of works. So now when we bring in Diatlas, now, as you can see, Star Saber is quite a bit taller because of the extra extensions on the feet. Yeah, I gotta say, I'm liking the Victory Saber combination more than I thought I would. I was kind of expecting to just want to display these guys separately, but I may be displaying them together after all. There's his effect parts. Kaboom. Oh, that looks nice. I think that's how I'm going to display this guy for sure. I remember G1 Star Saber. His handle would kind of plug into his back somewhere, and then he'd draw the blade out of it, but I can't tell where that... Oh wait, never mind. It wasn't in the back, it was in the leg. And I see the compartment. There's a little hole in the side right here. And you just drop the blade down to here just like that, and that's the storage for it. And then finally, oh, that's why the stand was so high up. It's accommodating the height of the the Victory Saber leg extensions. So now, when I plug him into the stand, he's no longer floating above the ground. Now his feet are actually planted on the stand. Okay, that's why the stand was designed that way. That makes a lot more sense now. So there he is, all loaded up with everything, weighing like 3 pounds. Very big, heavy, dense figure. I wouldn't think it would take 2 hours to go through all the modes of a Transformers figure, but here we are. I was so excited when I first got this Atlas figure, but he kind of feels like crap compared to Star Saber now. My standards have just been elevated to the moon now, and I like almost don't even want to look at him. So there. Victory Saber, Atlas, Optimus Prime, all standing together looking amazing. I was kind of apprehensive about this set, because I was thinking, man, I really hope this is worth the money, because I've had some Transformers figures that were a little bit underwhelming before, and I've seen some other Haslab projects for other franchises that were also a little bit underwhelming, so I was a little worried that this thing wouldn't deliver, and it wouldn't be as awesome as I was hoping it was, but this really is everything that I want from a Star Saber figure. I am so glad that I ordered this. Thanks for watching this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like. This video was recorded from one of my live streams. I usually try to stream around 4 o'clock in the afternoon till 6 or 7 in the evening Eastern Standard Time. If you want to make sure you don't miss the next stream or any future videos I upload, don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. I'd like to also extend a thank you to my patrons for helping make this channel possible, and a special thank you to my Master Grade tier patrons like Yank. If you want to join the Patreon yourself, you will gain access to cool features like full archives of past streams and early access to some new videos. Thanks again for watching, and as always, I'm your host, Second Soundwave, and I'll see you next time. Take care, guys.